For those of you who watched my channel update video, the last one, you know that I was making a top 5 war games of 2016 video. So I'm just making this preface to thank 420 of my subscribers. Thank you for all the support this year. It's been quite a hectic year, so I thought long and hard about these choices that I made for this video. And yeah, I hope you do pick some of them for Christmas because they are all excellent. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic day.
The first game on the 2016 list is Sengoku Jidai Shadow of the Shogun, and for $30 Australian, players of its spiritual predecessor cannot go wrong. This game was originally a mod developed for pike and shot campaigns. Slytherin reached out to the creator of the mod and it was eventually developed into a full-fledged game called Sengoku Jidai. And for those of you that have played pike and shot, this is a must-have title because the amount of content you get for your buck is astounding. With 90% of the pike and shot features imported, this game focuses on warfare in China, Korea and Japan, and they milk the conflicts for all they're worth. There are so many pre-constructed scenarios and campaigns based on the Genpei War, the Sengoku Jidai, the Imjin Wars, and the Chinese dynasty conflicts that for those of you that love the engine and the Asian theatre, they simply cannot go wrong with this gem of a title. The only reason that is not higher on my list is that I personally struggle with keeping interested with this much content, but for those of you that liked pike and shot, this title is a must pick and would make an amazing gift. And considering there's no actual voice acting in this game, there's less chance for racist memes.
Our men are running from the battlefield! Shame for this play! Shame for this play! Shame for this play!
Although this game was released in 2014, the recent slew of DLCs mirroring and extrapolating on real-life events has breathed new life into this game. Software. Database? Whatever it's called, Command Modern Air Naval Operations, or Commando, is an amazing piece of thing, and is still the best, if not only choice out there for examination of real-life naval and air warfare systems. This game is possibly the most complex wargame out there, with nearly every single specification of a ship or a jet playing into how it reacts in a digital environment. When this game was released, it wasn't very well perceived, but as the developers worked on it and added features and performance updates, it started gaining more traction, eventually garnering the attention of real US military personnel. Commando is not for the faint of heart. It is less a game and more of a simulation software where nearly every piece of military technology comes into play, such as missiles and radar jamming, but for its current price of $40 from the original $80, this is the perfect time to pick up this piece of thing, especially with the new DLCs coming in. The only reason why this is not higher on the list is that its tutorials are slightly lacking, making it less accessible for the newly initiated, but the base game comes with about 50 scenarios and a metric ton of community-made scenarios, which by the way are completely free to download. The depth of this game has over the past 2 years a fascinated and frustrated strategy community. For those with an interest of modern warfare, Commando is the pinnacle of gaming and commercial military software. For anybody that knows my love of Napoleon and the history behind his vicarious bitch-slapping of European entities, then they would also know that I absolutely love Scourge of War Waterloo. The Scourge of War series, developed by the small company Norbsoft Dev, has been an excellent source of recreating the Gettysburg conflicts in their previous games, with amazing detail to history, uniforms, and the battles themselves, of course. They eventually turned to the Waterloo campaign. Scourge of War Waterloo was released last year to a divided audience. There are many things wrong with this game: the graphical fidelity, the awkward messenger system, and that freaking map we can't zoom in on! I still adore this creation purely because nothing else out there makes me feel like a general. This year they released 2 more battles that occurred before Waterloo as DLCs, Lini and Quatre Bras. Although they don't add much in terms of gameplay, they do add a sense of completion to the 100 Days campaign and give the player an amazing historical perspective of what Napoleon had to face. This game is a bit of a 50-50 split. Some will love it and some will hate it, but for considering it's 50% off, now it's $40, for those of you who can look past its faults, you can definitely see that there is an amazing war game right behind it. At number 2 we have one of the most distinctly Russian games on the market, developed by Ukrainian studio Graviteam. This is Graviteam Tactics Mius-Front. Mius-Front was released this year to basically everybody drooling over the Steam page, but when it released they rapidly got confused over the distinctly Russian UI, as in nobody knew how to use the bloody thing. Patches and help from the devs managed to mostly overcome this hurdle in the game. What separates itself from most Russian Front World War II games is its obscure locations and skirmishing style of play. Battles occur over massive ranges where using any slight dip or shrubbery in the terrain is essential for victory. Detail is what brings this game to life, for the developers actually travel to the locations in the game to get an accurate portrayal of the Ukrainian countryside. Armor penetration diagrams are available for the bigger nerds out there, and an extensive encyclopedia of just about every weapon and vehicle is present, where you can compare stats and try to figure out just where you need your AT to fire to kill off that pesky tank. Details in the battles also add an addictive element to the game. Men work themselves into formation, then push forward under the cover of smoke, where you can see them performing bounding maneuvers to reach their destination, only to cower when a machine gun spots them and opens fire. This game is almost perfect, the only issue being the esoteric user interface, which can easily frustrate a player that has not encountered a game that is made by a foreign indie game dev. DLCs are also available for the game, and these are ridiculously cheap as well. At only about $5 or $10, they feature a new map and campaign that allows for more battles and variability at the base gameplay for an extremely low price. For those that have played Company of Heroes and Assault Squad of Men of War, this game is the next step of complexity in immersive strategy warfare. And at number 1 we have the legendarily difficult Decisive campaign's Barbarossa. On first look, this game is just your traditional hex encounter Russian Front wargame, but holy mother of god, there is so much more to it. Can you think of any other wargames out there where your relationship with your superiors and subordinates causes a significant impact on your game? Didn't think so. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the biggest selling point of this game is this decision system, where close to every turn you have to check your relationship with your generals and decide how you wish to use your political points. Political points are accrued each turn, and they're mainly used for buying cards and making decisions. These cards decide which force is buffed in attack or speed, where a siege unit is put into effect, where a general is relocated to perform a buff, and a variety of other choices that affect the various statistics of your forces. But you have to be careful, otherwise you may not get the opportunity later to use the saved up points to make a decision. Each of these decisions determine how the campaign flows. Most of them are of course on the German side, such as diverting fuel, making a supply depot, or how to use security divisions. And then you have to worry about who you piss off, since these decisions can also give relationship bonuses, and they can also anger the wrong person. Now, getting all Decisive with Hitler sounds great, but following his plan may piss off another general, and to counteract that, to please him, you piss off another one. Before you know it, a siege-trained general hates you so much he delays his train just to be a spiteful twat, and your plan to take a city is completely buggered. I've never seen a game that turns a simple Russian Front wargame into basically The Sims. The Russian side isn't skimped out on either. The devs use the communication breakdowns amazingly, tying it in with Stalin's paranoia. Essentially, if Stalin gets too upset, he goes insane and shoots a few generals, stalling some units and letting them get overwhelmed. The balancing game for the Russians is also dependent on the use of your 2 officer cards, where one lowers paranoia ratings and keeps Stalin happy, and the other spurns on your forces with the communication bonus, stopping them from getting stranded. The balancing act in this game is astounding, and so much detail and attention has been put into something which is essentially completely new in the strategy genre, and that's why this is my number 1 pick for the wargame of 2016.